Right. The first thing is this is about vibe coding today, and this is an image that was vibe generated by ChatGPT. So as you can see, it's not me on there, but it works. So that's essentially what vibe coding is all about. Just start with something and then iterate and take it from there. But a little bit about me first before we start. So my name is Peter. I run an agency that focuses on helping brands and companies being found on ChatGPT and other searches. The company is called Findable. You can check it out, but more to that later. And the reason I'm giving this workshop is because me and my team have built about 17 apps last year, like built and launched 17 apps. And this year, I think we've hit 60 or 65 as a team of 4. And that's essentially because we realized that there is something new now that is called vibe coding that lets you do things much, much, much faster. Right. A little bit of an agenda. Today we talk about prompting, which is very important because you only get as good of an answer from any AI tool as you are throwing your question or your prompt in there. Then the second part is probably what you're most excited about is building. So we're actually building the tools that you guys come up with. And then the third part, and this is where I shine and what I'm actually personally most excited about, is bringing those ideas to life because in the past so many ideas died in between people having them and actually making them happen. But now what I see happening is ideas just die one step later. People build them but never ship them. So I think an important part of vibe coding is actually shipping it and getting some users. And don't worry, this thing down here is a little joke. Right, vibe coding. What is vibe coding? Vibe coding essentially is coding with words, so coding with just using the English or German language. Like Albert Einstein said, if you vibe code, you will win. And the great thing about using language and describing it, that it actually challenges you one step before you even start digging into your work. So problem with coding in the past has been that that it took a very, very long time to get a development team or a team aligned before even starting to develop. And then obviously there's this whole coding thing. The first part we can now speed up a lot by having ideas and by thinking about how to bring those to life and use tools such as ChatGPT or other prompting tools to help us get one step ahead and to actually have almost a co-pilot. So the way I use ChatGPT and Claude, etc., is by setting it up in such a way that it has a lot of information about me, has a lot of information about my customers and where I want to go, and it will therefore vibe with me and is basically this like project manager that puts me gives me the first step on the vibe coding front. Now, we're going from idea to product and to audience in days. That's essentially the key here. But I forgot something there on the agenda. And this is actually what we're starting with right now. In the past, and this is something as somebody who has never been the CTO in a company, I always heard that, your ideas are worthless and you have to put in the work and you have to create something out of them. Otherwise, like what's an idea in the first place, right? And this is where I get personally excited. Vibe coding has changed that. Vibe coding has suddenly put the idea in the focus because a shit idea will be a shit product no matter how good you develop. And so I want you to now spend a couple of minutes, and I'm going to keep going, but you please spend a couple of minutes if you don't have a concrete idea already to come up with an idea about what you would like to build. Think of it very openly. Like it could be a product that solves your own need. For example, it could be a health dashboard that tracks your data and shows you your step count, your heart rate, etc. It could be an internal tool that helps you in your company to build something faster. And if you need a little bit of inspiration, there is a brilliant website called the Ideas Browser. So it's ideabrowser.com. And they actually take a bit of a deep dive into ideas and so on. Every day there's like a featured idea and they explain why it's valuable and why you should be building it. So check that out. But then again, spend a couple of minutes coming up with an idea what you want to focus on today. And feel free to share it in the chat. Maybe other people have something to add. And I will also take a look from time to time what's happening in here. Let me actually do this right now. Right. Launch everyday challenge. Yes, amazing. I'm just skim reading here. I'll continue. All right, then this is where it gets interesting because people have a very, very different view on this current trend. And you get a lot of pushback from developers who's saying that vibe coding is never going to replace coding. Vibe coding isn't valuable at all. You will just create a backlog of problems, so like a code full of bugs, etc. I say that I agree with Kendrick Lamar, and I'm not going to read it out loud, but I think vibe coding is not what developers are thinking. It is just something that brings ideas to life and replaces prototypes for now. But the pace AI is going and language models are evolving, even something that you create today might actually automatically get better next week or next month. So everybody who is a developer and hasn't understood empowering tools or using tools like Claude to be faster and to be better will actually face some serious problems. Now let's talk a little bit about my stack. What is most important is having this founder mindset. So really thinking about what you want to create as something that solves a clear problem for a clear audience. The audience could just be you. Your clear problem could just be as simple as you have a problem with to-do lists, so you create a simpler one. Then it is having maker tools, like having your own stack. And these are just some examples that I currently like using: Replit, Midjourney, Lovable, and Zapier. Replit and Lovable are very similar. They basically help you to create apps and websites from prompting. Midjourney helps me with creatives like video and photo. And Zapier is for automation. And then there's growth thinking. So this is something that I always have in mind. If this is not something that I'm just building for myself, how can I get an audience for that? So as part of, from as early as building a landing page, you can have that in mind. And I'll talk a little bit about that later. Cool. This whole presentation was basically created by ChatGPT. I just made a few changes where I had to, and this is something that I think we should spend a little bit of time in. So prompting is second to the idea. Prompting is something that is really, really valuable. A bad prompt will give you a bad outcome. So if you can just read this for a second. I asked ChatGPT, and this is where my vibe coding journey usually starts when I'm done with the idea, to create a prompt for a tool called Midjourney to create an impressive graphic to blow away my students at today's workshop. Okay, so I put the content there. I asked ChatGPT to create a better prompt. Let's see what happened there. This is what ChatGPT threw back at me. Futuristic digital dashboard showcasing the Peter and Buch stack with vibrant neon UI elements, glowing holographic icons of ChatGPT, Notion, Make.com, findable SEO, centerpiece features a dynamic human silhouette etc., etc., etc. I'm not going to read you the whole thing, but I would have never come up with a prompt like that, and neither would have you, and it wouldn't have made any sense. You can obviously double check that prompt and create it even better. But what it did for me is it came up with this. So now this is hopefully blowing your minds. If not, I'm going to complain to Midjourney. And this is mainly to show you, spend some time thinking about prompt, put that prompt in ChatGPT, and ask ChatGPT to make that prompt better. And then, of course, there are many alternatives and different tools that you can use, such as Claude, for example.
Sorry, Peter, we have a few
Yeah.
questions in the chat. Just
Yes.
before you maybe move forward, I'll read the questions for you. The first one was, can we use vibe coding to make a software or a video game or an app, not a web app?
Yes. Can you make a game or an app, a mobile app? Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Cool.
And another.
Short answer is yes. The longer answer is that if you want to do that, you should still start with a landing page, and I will come to that later in the workshop. But yes, technically it is possible.
Okay, and then thank you. We have another question. What about the security threats? As AI tends to make mistakes, which won't be caught by someone with no previous experience.
Yes. I mean, first of all, I would like you to think about what you're afraid of, like what security threats. Like if you create a tool without a login, then there is nothing that can possibly go wrong. If you use a something like Superbase that Lovable comes with, which is a database service that is integrated in Lovable, it will also handle that step. So you will have a secure login that Superbase covers, or you can also use Google Firebase. And this is a Google problem or a Lovable problem. They take care of that for you. So you don't have to worry about that. If you're thinking about credit cards and charging, I would recommend integrating a service such as Stripe. Again, then the security problem is not on you. If you create a social network that is really complicated, you have a lot of users, you have a lot of user data, I always say work with an engineer or really understand at least how code reviews work and let different. So what I do is I copy paste the code out of a tool like Lovable into Claude, and I let Claude run through the code and check if there are any problems there, or anything that I should be aware of. So there's things that you can work with that, but that's really something that a problem that only arises if you have a product that is actually worth shipping in the first place.
Okay, then we have, can we develop a website chatbot? I think was with vibe coding.
Yes, you can create a chatbot. I will have to think about what integration, what tools you can use there, but I would ask you to start by just prompting and ask ChatGPT about an API or a framework to create a chat UI within Lovable or Instance as vibe coding tools, and I'm pretty sure there's something out there.
One more question. Are there any tools in vibe coding that can be used to link multiple vibe coded websites together? Example, two separate Lovable sites and merge the GitHubs. Any coding systems that help merge GitHubs?
Honestly, I don't know. My honest answer is I don't know. The way I would approach this is um, check with Lovable. They might have something that you can mesh those already. There's a new feature that allows not only collaborative work, but also to use something like a product that somebody else has shipped, and you can work with that. So if you're starting from scratch, I think I would do that. If you have two existing projects and you want to merge them, I don't know. I would ask you what the purpose is. Yeah, but I don't have a better answer for you now.
Thank you.
Cool. No more questions for now.
No more questions for now.
Okay, checking that myself. Okay, now let's talk about prompting a little bit. What I do in prompting, and before you look at the examples on the screen, is for example, I'm currently writing a book as a side project, and I prompt a ChatGPT project, and this is something that is also valuable for coding. You prompt a ChatGPT project or Claude in a way that it pretends to be somebody, like in this Gen Z example here, brand strategist. In my book example, I prompted to be Stephen King and find, check his interviews, check what's written about him online. In his voice, give me direct feedback on everything I'm writing. So I write a page, a story, I put it in ChatGPT in this project, and then I will have feedback coming back from an expert in writing, like one of the best authors or one of the best-selling authors in our time. And it works exactly the same way with everything that when it comes to prompting. So, for example, you ask ChatGPT to pretend to be a Gen Z brand strategist to write TikTok scripts. You will look at current trends. You can do your own research if you want and paste a couple of examples. And I will say, behave as a strategist, understanding this audience really well. And based on that, come up with a couple of scripts, let's say, call it 5 scripts, for a great video for TikTok that will most likely be viral. Then say, look at current trends look at current Google trends to pick a topic that is more likely to get attention. Based on that, you will get a prompt and you take it from there. Or you turn a voice note into a landing page copy by just talking to a tool like ChatGPT. I feel like I'm saying ChatGPT too much. It's also very hard to say, but you have to bear with me here for a bit. You just talk into the tool and you say, you basically freely speak and explain the landing page copy in the way that you would want your landing page copy to read. And that, don't worry if you speak for a minute or 10. And then you have that long text and you just ask one of these AI tools to create landing page copy out of that and trim it down to just the essentials for a specific audience. For example, if you want to build software for hairdressers, you prompt it so that it has executives or owners of hair salons in mind when it creates the landing page copy. Now, 5 GPT startup ideas for teen stress. Okay, that would be a very, very short, very simple prompt. You will get something useful out of there. Now, I created a Google document. Let's go back here. So I created a Google document that is open for everybody. It's bit.ly, bit.ly /moonvibe1. You will get to that document and you can put your prompt ideas in there. You can put general ideas in there. We're gonna use it throughout the workshop. Don't be scared of sharing things with others. It would be really great if we can have a bit of a selection. And then I'm also gladly give feedback and also give feedback to each other. If somebody has no idea, maybe take ideas from some others or get inspired by those prompts. I will monitor on a second device. If anybody is in there and writing in there, you should all have access. I just created a little bit of a teaser description, what this is all about. And I would like to invite you to spend a little bit of time creating a prompt. So first create a prompt for something that you would like to build. Don't overthink it. Just create that prompt and feel free to paste it in there. I'm waiting for prompts. Something is happening. Okay, I'm happy. You can keep going and I'll keep talking so I don't bother people who are not actively engaging in this. I would still like for everyone to at least have this Google Docs open and keep checking what other people are saying. What's in there now is write me a responsive e-commerce website leverages AI for ease of search and AV. Okay. Then create a social network where people connect. I want to use those 2 prompts. So first of all, thank you, whoever posted these. That's great that we have something in there already. The first one, write me a responsive e-commerce website that leverages AI for ease of search and AV. Great. I would specify who it's for. I would specify in the prompt what you would like to sell in that e-commerce site. And what I also always like to do is talk a little bit about the style. Use a word like minimalistic, use a word like colorful, like trendy, etc. Just to make that prompt even better. Create a social network where people connect. Okay, great. I have a few questions there, like who's the audience? Is it everyone? Is it for a certain target audience? Is it photo-based, video-based, audio-based? Yeah, just think a little bit there and add that to your prompt. And then as the next step, what I usually do with these prompts is I put them in ChatGPT and say, improve my prompt and see what happens there. Now, we talked about prompting. Let's build something cool. This is a image that I generated using Midjourney. And yeah, built faster than ever with tools like that. So what I did here is create a clean, minimal tech workspace, white background with soft shadows, elegant flat icons of ChatGPT, Replit, Notion, etc. And what it created is the image on the right, or at least that's one of those images. If you want to check it out, I can highly recommend you to use Midjourney for graphics. This is the overview here. Again, some tools and like a tool highlight list. What you can do and use to vibe code. Again, there's many tools that are doing similar things. If I was a complete beginner and I never used any of those tools before, I would probably now start with ChatGPT and then go into Lovable or Instance. They make it easy to create websites or apps in just a couple of minutes. Then there is a really cool tool if you're looking to create more complex internal software. Like, for example, you want to create email automations for your business so that you send sales emails to your customers, you send follow-ups, and you save those contacts in a list. What I like using for stuff like that is a tool called Data Button. So Data Button is more focused on internal tools out of the box rather than tools like Lovable or Instance that are more front-facing, consumer-facing, building a great front end and website. And the rest, yes, it's also possible, but the more complex it gets, there's Data Button can help. And you get a similar result if you use make.com and Airtable, but that's where it gets a little more tricky and requires a little bit more knowledge of those tools. The part 3 that we're going to talk about is getting attention, because a product without users is not worth anything. And I'm going to leave it at that for here. So you create FOMO on your website. You want to hook your audience and you want to optimize for discovery. And again, I'm using this whole presentation, including the background image, in the same way that I want you to prompt. So I asked for a visual megaphone or rocket launch on ChatGPT to create that prompt for me from Midjourney. Midjourney created something epic. I really, really like it. And the whole process took 2 minutes. Now, that's just about the marketing for your product. A little bit about SEO for the AI era. So this is interesting for 2 reasons. So first of all, it's self-promotion. It's products that I'm building myself, but it has never been harder to do SEO and never been easier at the same time. So nobody knows what they're doing because Google is declining. But at the same time, ChatGPT, Perplexity, and other sites are being used for search. So what we're doing as part of the vibe coding thing, with just a couple of clicks, we can use tools like our content gap report. If you want to take a look, it's contentgapreport.com, where you can, for example, if you already have a vibe coded product, you can paste your domain in there and it will give you an analysis of where the content for your site is at and what you can improve. But, and this is more important for the stage that we are at, if you do not have even an idea, you can simply find a brand or website that you like. It could be something like Nike.com, it could be something like producthunt.com, and you paste that website in the content gap report, and reading the content gap report, it gives you strengths and weaknesses of that website so you can find opportunities for things to build. Any questions at this stage?
We had one question earlier that I saw, which is one free vibe coding website you suggest for video games?
Video games. What kind of video game?
I have no idea that. You see who the person, whoever it was, maybe could expand on that.
And I see a raised
So
hand.
we have Sharif Dean. Let me.
Yeah, I can hear me.
Yes,
Hi,
we
I
can.
can.
Yeah, so there's something I'd like to ask. Thank you so much for the session so far. I'd like to ask, when in a situation where my website is vibe coded and the idea of the website is quite similar to someone else's, do I risk being sued for IP loss and plagiarism? Do you get that?
Right. Okay. The question is around IP. So if your vibe coded project or product is similar to something else, are you risking to get sued? Is your question? I think. Look, I mean, a blatant. First of all, I'm not a lawyer. I cannot give you legal advice. But what I can say is that you can definitely get inspired by other people's products and projects. What I would not use is similar logos. I wouldn't use the same copy. So I would really try to come up with that by yourself. But there's very little in terms of IP protecting actual tools. So if you want to create a MailChimp competitor, like a tool that sends and automates emails, I see no problem with things like that. But yeah, if you have a clear idea and a problem, or like a company that you are afraid of, I think you should probably just consult a lawyer, even a bot as a first step. Cool.
Yeah, there are no other questions unless somebody.
Well, what I'm going to say to you, what I'm going to say to the app, so the game thing is, if you want to build something like Tetris or Super Mario, you can build that with Lovable. You can build that with instance.so. Works quite well. Again, I think I would use a tool like ChatGPT and ask for the right prompt, and talk a little bit about the style of it, and that's essentially what the vibe part of vibe coding. And then you should get a decent result within those products. If it's something more complex, then I don't actually know where the limitations would be and what you can come up, what you had in mind. Yeah. Okay. Moving on to my last slide. Okay. time to build. So I don't know, T, can you give me a number of how many people are attending? Is 38 correct?
38, yeah.
Okay, cool. Cool. I'm just messing up Zoom here. Right. Okay. So what I would like to do, first of all, as you can see, once again, I asked ChatGPT to build my slides. This time it suggested, this is great because this is almost exactly what I wanted as this time to build instructions. What it didn't get right was my visual, a checklist, or a team brainstorming icon I found a bit lame, so I replaced it with something a bit more exciting, a bit more fun. Again, please keep using that Moonvibe one in Google Docs to share prompts, and yeah, I have a few more prompts in there, but also to share ideas. So what I would like you to do now is, and I don't know actually how we best do this. Is there a good way, is there a good way to form teams here?
Yes, there are break rooms that they can go into.
Perfect.
That I can set up.
Perfect. That would be great. So what I'd like you to do is that you form teams of 3. If we are a good amount of people for that. Otherwise, feel free to join a team as a 4th person. With the same idea. So take a few minutes and pick one idea, but use different tools to build it. To just start with a prompt. I'm going to do a few live experiments as well. As soon as you guys get started, I'll go into Lovable, instance, etc., and I'll play around with it a bit, so you can also just watch that. But yeah, once you have your team with the same idea in a different tool, I want you to all create and just see with the same or similar prompts, how different those products will look like. And then as a second part, we're going to build a landing page and share it for feedback. Now, why a landing page? In the past, I would have said as a marketer, we built a product and we discussed this for a very long time. Then we have this product that has been built over weeks or months. And then at the very last part is how we're going to sell this. Let's create a landing page, let's make a sign up, etc. I now always start reverse with the landing page. So I go from idea to landing page, because what's not on the landing page, is not essential. What's not hooking your customer or is not important for yourself is not important for vibe coding to get started with. Even if it's a tool just for myself, and if I build my own personal dashboard where I'm the only user, I still start with a landing page, because it helps me to really think, okay, what is the one sentence that this tool is about? I think I mentioned the dashboard earlier. Let's say I want to build a dashboard for myself as a CEO that tracks not only my vitals, but also my most important tasks of the day, shows that to me nicely on a website. I would still start by thinking about that landing page first. So that's what we're going to start with. Then we can jump into building a micro product, a tiny first functional version of whatever app we are going to build or website. Then we're planning go to market, a launch, and we pitch the launch as a tweet or TikTok. I hope you guys have had fun building stuff and prompting. It would be great if we get to see some of the things that you guys have created. So if any group wants to share anything, I know the first is always the hardest. That's why I also pulled out my own little creation here. I made my own Pete dashboard for my health and business at a glance. Today's focus, Moonshot Pirates workshop. Anxiety high, that's actually a lie, maybe earlier today, but the workshop calmed me down nicely. Slept well, and my stress level is quite okay. I have an alert for the creation of a blog post for my LLM SEO tomorrow and some other things. So that's actually a nice overview, a nice dashboard. I could now work on calendar integrations and keeping those numbers updated live. But let's look at what you guys have built. So anyone keen to share? First prize, you talk about it and show us, but I'm also happy if you just send a link.
Can you see that? Climate matchmaking?
I can see chat.
Do you see where
Yes.
climate experts meet teen innovators?
Yes, we can see that.
So we did this on we used the last prompt. It's a matchmaker app that connects experts with teens for precautionary warnings about flooding. And it matches experts. And so it gives real-time information about flooding, and it shows a community, and it shows the impact. we thought
Very
it was
cool.
we thought it was pretty funny. It already gave like all these things that it did when we just created it. So we thought it was a little exaggerating. That's all. But it was
Right.
very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, it looks useful too. I mean, as a next step, you could even have ask for API integrations. So what I usually do is I prompt ChatGPT to find open APIs for data like that. There might be something available, and you could then plug into this to get. I mean, this is obviously something that is your own content, but if you actually wanted real time, like real data, that's certainly possible. Yeah, about storms or floods.
Cool. Awesome. So turn it into ask for API data. Is that what you said?
I think I would say something like in its own chat, not on Lovable. I would go on ChatGPT
Okay.
and ask if there is is there an API for flood data?
Okay. All right.
And let's just see. Yes, there are several APIs. I thought so. And that's something that you can look into. In this case, there is the documentation for the first one. And yeah, you can get access to those APIs. In this case, you need to read the documentation. There might be it might be as simple as copy pasting it into Lovable and say, create an integration for this API. Some might require a little bit more work, but it certainly is possible to have your real the real data in there, not just the mock or
Oh,
example data.
okay. Thank you so much. That's great. I'll
Sure.
stop.
Thanks for building.
I'm happy to go next if no one else is too keen. But can everyone hear me?
We can.
Okay, perfect. Let me just share my screen. Give me 1 second. Here we go. So Peter, I discussed this with you earlier, but our idea was this one, the social network one, very similar actually, funnily enough. But it's an idea like the main issue, not directly climate related, but the main issue is that it's really hard for startup founders to find like other people, right? Like people who have the necessary skills, who are proven to be aligned. So we decided to make this lovable app where it's sort of where you can find your tribe, like your people, right, to help you with a different product. But what we did specifically is we decided to I had to put in like an API or something here, like an OpenAI API, but it does a AI project analysis. So you can actually, rather than just claiming like the way on LinkedIn or in real life people claim to be good at something, you can actually like put in your projects, put in your GitHub repos, and like describe it, and like an AI will analyze that, and it will obviously, like I don't have one to put in right now, but it can analyze that like ideally, and it will give you an alignment score saying like it will choose, like it will find what skills you've got, how good you are at different things, like how functional your code is, and then you'll be able to connect with other people based on your actual alignment of interests, on your like your capability, your interests. And we tried this on Lovable, which looked pretty good actually. I like the way it worked. I also like the way Replit worked. It was nice. In the sense that like it sort of did it part by part. I could see all of it. I also like the fact that I can actually go onto the different things in Replit, even though I like the way Lovable made it look a bit nicer. And then Jerusalem, who was my other teammate, she worked on I can't remember the third link. What was it? It was instance.so.
Instance.
Yeah, but I'm not sure how we could have shared that between each other. But yeah, it was cool. It was a good experience.
Perfect. Thank you.
Cool. I'll stop sharing. 1 sec. There we go.
Anyone else?
Sharif Dean, your hand is up.
Yeah, can I go next?
Please.
Yeah, all right. So, so my idea was nothing about what we discussed on the call, but I have some bit of experience using Lovable before this time, and I educated my colleague on the call about how to write code and all of that. So during the call, we had to work around this a library app that a very intuitive library app that is responsive and has all of this on the landing page. So here is what we could build on. I also did some education around Boot, V0, and some other vibe coding apps that fit and plug into. So yeah, that's my
Very cool.
actions during the call. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Beautiful design. Very clear. Okay. Do we have other takers? Anybody else who wants to show?
Sharif Dean, I think you can just stop sharing, screen sharing. Yeah.
Cool. Anyone else who would like to share, talk about their project? If not, I will talk more. You heard me talk for quite a while, but we have about 10 minutes left if I'm correct. Yes. Cool. Well, if there is nobody else, I'll go back to my boring slides again.
We don't think your slides are boring.
Thank you. I will tell the creator of my slides, namely ChatGPT, and it will be very excited. Actually, I made this slide myself.
Yeah, they're actually not boring.
Cool. Right. So this is now because actually let's go one back. Okay. So we've seen how quickly and easy we can build some actually pretty powerful things. We have shared some feedback. We use different tools to create. What I usually love doing next, and we can actually do this in 5 minutes or less, plan your go-to-market and like how do we actually get to users. So if you have a ready product now, you can use a tool like, let me just show you this quick, like the Content Gap report, and you can paste your domain in here as if it's published on, for example, Lovable, and you get a report. I will just do that with, let's look at one of the products that we've used. So lovable.dev, right? Use lovable.dev, and we get that report. So why is this so interesting? Because if you build something, you do this for your own vibe coded project, you will see not only what content you can create to be more findable by Google and by LLMs such as ChatGPT, but you will also have an overview of competitors in there. So this just takes a minute or two and creates a good overview of where you basically at. Let's just wait and see what it spits out for Lovable. Generating recommendations. Yeah, try it yourself, contentgapreport.com, put your own domain in, or a competitor, or like a project that you're curious to build, and you will get that. Takes longer than I would like for a live demo, but we've got something there. Lovable.dev, content gap analysis. It has behind this report all the pages that it checked, how it works, what is well covered. Oh, sorry, I actually have a problem here. It could not get, it has a passing error. Okay. I will not do this again, but please try it for yours. That's the beauty of live demos. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. So I will just talk a little bit more about myself and how you can reach me.
For Content Gap, it says that registration is closed.
I'm not sure. contentgapreport.com. Got something in the chat. Oh yeah, my email. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, so my email is p@peterbuch.com. Ask me any questions about vibe coding or go to market anytime. I'll gladly help. You can also connect on LinkedIn. Let me maybe share that link with everyone as well. On top here. Right, so you have access to me now in different places. Yeah, so again, vibe, the vibe is more important than the code. That's my opinion. A lot of developers hate me for saying this, but I've worked with so many developers and I've been coding myself since way too long. Actually, 1999, I launched my first e-commerce site. I was 11. So since then, so many things have changed. I want to say about the whole vibe coding thing, why this is so exciting, and you should keep going and learn more. I learned programming with pen and paper. So for the first 9 months at technical college, I wasn't allowed a computer to code, and that's killing me inside. Still thinking about that. So now today we can not only code on our computers, but even before we start coding or learning to code and get better, we can create prompts and just have to spend more time thinking about what we actually want to build, and then put those words into a product like ChatGPT, improve our prompts, and spit out actual fully functional products, and then launch and make money with it, or launch and just do it for fun and build something for yourself, for your community, help people with something. If you're stuck with a vibe coding project, please reach out to me anytime. And if you have any questions, I have a few more minutes.
Could you put the link for the Content Gap report so we...
Yeah. Yes,
Thank
I'll put that in the chat. Yeah, I'll put the Content Gap report.
This feels like magic making to me.
Yes, it is. It is. It is for me. For me, it's so fun. So, Sheriff Dean wants to say something, or just no? Maybe.
Yeah, I do. I just wanted to ask a question. Yeah.
Please.
Thank you so much so far. and I've really enjoyed the session. So
I'm glad.
I do backend and I write code with content. So do you know if there is any backend a tool for backend developers to do write coding? Because that's the kind of relief to that can happen.
A tool for backend developers to write code. Is that what you're asking?
Not to write code, to write code. I know tools to write code. Do you get?
I'm not sure.
Okay. My thought of coding with Lovable is mostly with the UI, prototyping. So
Right.
like if you want to prototype your backend APIs, is there anything like that?
So first of all, there is now Supabase integrated, so you can create your backend with Supabase on Lovable. But also, if you want to look at data button, and I'll paste that here again.
Data
Data button. I'll
Alright.
paste that here in the chat. So data button is really cool because what it does is you create your prompt. Let's say you want to create a backend for your personal CRM to keep track of your customers. You put that prompt into data button and it will ask you questions back. It's almost like a CTO talking back to you and then walks you step by step through the process of integrating and for example, finding APIs that you can then connect.
That's nice. Thank you so much, Anthony.
Thank you for the question.
Interesting. When I put the published Lovable app in there, in the content gap report, it says that there's something on the website that is missing. Huh.
I must check that because I had the same error when I tested Lovable. I want to actually double check.
So this is what it says.
Something might be up.
That is the published app.
Right. Yes, sorry about that. Maybe check again tomorrow. I will see. Content Gap Report is one of my own tools, so that's a project that we're building in-house. So if there is a problem with the actual website, I'll find out. It is also possible that if you just published a site that it isn't indexed yet and isn't working yet, or it doesn't appear yet, but
Okay.
it usually should go. That should happen fairly quickly usually. But I'm in the meantime checking another report for. Yeah, okay. For me, it worked for Stripe. For Stripe.com, it did work. Content gap analysis. Stripe currently possesses a robust content foundation, primarily centered around its extensive suite of payment processing, financial infrastructure, etc. Check shows you then the pages that it looked at. And this is what's really interesting. So the core industry topics, there's a high volume of evergreen content that drives consistent traffic into your space. Online payment processing, very exciting topic. Subscription management, fraud prevention, global market extension, etc. So this is what Stripe.com has well covered, and then this is what they're lacking. For example, they're lacking an in-depth financial compliance guide, advanced fraud prevention strategies. Those would be things as a marketer for your website. If you see gaps like that, where you can act and say, even just say, hey, ChatGPT, write a blog post, copy paste this, and say, write a blog post about this, and then you have that content on your website, and you're more likely to be found within search. But yeah, this is then also interesting. You have the search traffic competitors, PayPal's Braintree, Checkout.com, Square, etc. So for your company, really valuable for your project to just get that report. It's a very, very long report, as you can see here. And then in the bottom here, you can even copy a prompt for content generation that uses those keywords and creates a prompt that I can then put on ChatGPT. Oh, okay. I'll open a different window for ChatGPT. Yeah, so this is the prompt that I'm getting. Generate 5 content pieces for the following topic. advanced fraud prevention, content angle, in-depth guide on leveraging radar for machine learning powered fraud detection. I don't even know what that means, but I'm gonna just see what ChatGPT now comes up with. And I have, within like probably less than a minute, I have 5 tailored content pieces, blog posts that I can then copy and paste on my website. And not only do I have a vibe coded website / product, but I also have a good way for customers to actually find me. So first blog post, second blog post. And if you add, you can, as a next step, just say, give me, based on those outlines, write the full post as well.
So you both
Cool.
program it and write a blog simultaneously?
So you're asking about,
You.
yes, yes.
I checked back, it's doing the same thing.
Okay. So, do we have any more questions? We're a bit over time already, but if there are any takers, any more questions, I will stay. I have a hand. Aditya.
Yeah, so hey, you told us about that the e-commerce website that you put on when you were 11 in 1999. I believe that Amazon was officially released in 1994, so 1999 must be very early for that technology. How is your website doing now, or maybe how did you come up with an idea? Just expand, if you could just expand on that. That would be very great to hear.
I'll give you a bit of a story. So it was 1999 was when eBay launched in Germany. I'm Austrian, so I could use eBay to buy stuff. And that was mind blowing for me as a little kid. But if you can buy stuff, I thought you can also sell stuff, right? So I taught myself some basic HTML and programming and created this e-commerce page. I called it P-Game, so Peter and Game, P-Game. Launched it and to sell PlayStations, like actually modified PlayStations. And I got the traffic through by modified, I mean that you could copy games and still play them. Back in the good old days where you could burn CDs and create a copy of FIFA and whatever you wanted. So I couldn't afford games, so I wanted to give access to that to others. Yeah, I made a bit of money with that, but it's not going anymore. I've done many businesses since. You can check out my LinkedIn. It would be too long to go into that now.
Cool. So you kind of build a marketplace for modified PS CPUs, controllers, whatever, like game related stuff.
Not even that. I just built a marketplace for that had sold a document that had links to get those components on the internet, plus a description, a very detailed description on how to modify your own PlayStation. So I helped a lot of people. I did nothing illegal, and it was easy to sell that. I could just email my customers the product.
No, that's really cool. I really appreciate that.
Cool. Thanks for the question.
We had one question in the chat. It says, I want to integrate a ML model which will predict flow using DEM file, which is 7 gigs of data, 3D data, of course. After processing the user input from the data, the model will predict the output and load the DEM. Now, my question is, how do you process this large data economically and efficiently?
Okay. So again, thank you, Mohammed, for the question. My honest short answer is I don't know. But let's think about this together. So I think how I would approach this is I would find a way to get the data size down. That would be a first thing. So I would ask this question, if you can, for example, I don't know if you used Claude Code before, but Claude is usually really good at this, at helping you strategically think about stuff like that, and just say, okay, can you help me with this problem? How could I get this data size down? I know that data transfer, even for images and video, is still a big problem. So yeah, that would be my